Today's episode is presented by Lodestar, the fee experts.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Lending Leaders. My name's Alayna Gardner, AMP, and today I'm joined with Amanda Morrow, AMP, Director of Investor Relations at Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love it.
Of course. So we're here at the TMC conference. I always love when we get to do things in person and all of that. But to start us off, could you tell us a little bit how you got into mortgage and your mortgage journey?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. My grandmother's boyfriend, so stay with me there.
Okay.
Worked at Genworth, which is a mortgage insurance company. Yep. And they were hiring for a new account executive in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I started my career in the mortgage industry at what was Genworth, now Annette.
Yep.
Doing managing Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey.
Yep.
As an account executive. And so I worked there for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started. It was great.
And then you ended up on the lender side.
Yes. And then I got to take the plunge.
Yeah.
Into the dark side. I mean that from a place of love and affection. So yeah, I took the plunge and went to Atlantic Bay 3 years ago.
Yeah. And it's such a great place. So I have a long list of awards that Atlantic Bay has gotten. I'm going to read them all off. So top 100 mortgage company in America, best mortgage company, most enjoyable place to work, an Inc. 5000, fastest growing company, and National Mortgage News's #1 best large company to work for in the nation. That is a lot.
There's a lot of it's really awesome to work here awards.
Yeah.
And it is. It's one of those places that we're big on our core values, and we're big on your work-life balance. Everyone works remotely. So I think 80%, 90% of our company works from wherever.
Yeah.
And it just makes everybody really happy. You get a really good mix of time in the office with maybe your manager or with our capital markets team, but most of the time you don't need that and you can just do everything from home.
Yeah.
And obviously happy employees work harder, so it's a win for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. And one of the things that, is always a struggle is balancing profitability and growth against those kind of values, right?
Yeah.
How do you see that enacting your day-to-day job?
So obviously our core values, we're not willing to give them up for anything.
Yeah.
And obviously we do a lot with our employees for engagement. So we do, in October, we do a big event and we have everybody gets mailed a care package and we try to show our employees a lot of appreciation.
I love
feel the love. And you have to invest in your team and those things cost money. And obviously, the way the market's been the past couple of years, that's been really challenging, but we still try to never give up on those things, right? We're never going to stop doing employee appreciation. We're never going to stop doing, right? Can't say never. But we are very unlikely going to stop doing our annual party that we have. We all get together in person because, again, we all work from home. So there are just some hard lines in the sand that our company has drawn where our core values are so important to them. We're not willing to give them up for anything.
Well, and your core values are who you are as an organization, right? At the end of the day. And if you lose those things, then you kind of lost the plot a little bit.
Yeah.
And we feel very strongly about ours as well. So it's one of those things that I very much respect that. And then, so we're a couple of years out from the pandemic, when we weren't able to meet in person and all that stuff. You go to a lot of industry conferences. How would you feel like it's come back from post-pandemic? And what are you seeing now that you didn't see 2 years ago when we started to return?
I feel like people are more appreciative now.
Yeah.
And it went from relationships matter to realizing relationships are.
Yep.
They don't just matter. They are the most important thing that you have in this industry. We're all in this together, coming to things like TMC and this conference, MBA, secondary, IMB, any other event that you can participate in. I think that what we've learned from when we were all trapped in our homes for 2 years is that being around people is really important. It's so good for your career, for your development, for your mental health.
Yeah.
And I think that if anything from the pandemic, it taught us to really prioritize our relationships. And some of the most well-attended events I've been to have been in the past couple of years. So despite how challenging the market has been, and despite the costs that everybody, the cuts that everybody's had to make, they still prioritize coming to these events and engaging and being on advisory councils and participating on different boards and CHLA and all these other organizations. And so I think that it just showed us that this is the most important thing that we have, and we're all in this together. And it's nice when you come here and then you've realized we're all in the same boat. Yeah, we all have very similar struggles. Obviously they all have their flavors.
Yes.
But the general theme is really similar. Right?
Yeah.
So I do feel like it's put a greater focus on the relationships in the conferences. I will never give this up for anything.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing that I do for my company and for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of associations and just investing in yourself and investing in your community, because at the end of the day, your community is always going to be there regardless of what happens. If your company changes, if this happens or that happens, you have that to rely on. And I think one of the big questions is, so what is the biggest thing you're looking to get out of TMC while we're here and kind of looking for out of your conference schedule other than relationships, right? What type of just kind of insight are you looking at? What are you trying to get out of sessions?
Yeah, so there's a lot of really good sessions that are capital markets focused or product focused, which again, near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely.
So balancing a competitive product offering with your risk appetite, and onboarding investors costs money, maintaining investors costs money. And I understand you have to have every tool in your arsenal to be able to be competitive and offer a variety of product types.
Yep.
Because the realtor relationships have gotten so sensitive. You don't want to be the one going to your realtor and saying, oh, I can't do that program.
Yeah.
So how do I balance that with also all the time, effort, and energy and resources that it takes to maintain those investors and product offerings and to learn them and teach people them and create training for them and policies and procedures. And there's a whole lot of extra work I think that people don't see with that. So when I come to these sessions, I've already attended two, both driven around profitability, and risk appetite.
Absolutely.
And how do you mesh the two? And I think that that's really come into focus the past couple of years. And TMC does a really good job of doing a lot of sessions that are really diverse.
Yeah.
But they usually always have at least like two of it. So you're not only getting like, well, there's one session that pertains to me. You don't get that here. You get two or three that are profitability focused.
Yes.
So.
No, and I absolutely love that. Well, I know we want to get you back to sessions and so we can continue learning and all of that. But before I let you go, I have to ask you the question we ask on every single one of these podcasts, which is, a lodestar is a guiding light in the night sky. What guides you in your day to day? It can be personal or professional. So you kind of have the out of keeping it light.
I think what guides me in my day to day, I have two. So my relationships.
Yep.
Again, when I am stuck on something at work, when I need to solve a problem, when I want to bounce an idea off of them, knowing that there's, 20 or 30 different people that I've gotten to know here that I can text them and say, hey, can you talk about this? What are you doing for this? So what guides me, and I feel like also helps me be of value to my organization, is my relationships. And then my kids. Like, I love making them proud. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and my husband too. And it's just like, that they see that I have my career and a really high priority in my life, and traveling and being successful and doing things like this. They can watch a podcast and be like, oh, look, I saw mom on TV, and maybe they don't totally understand it because they're 3 and 5, but I still want them to see that you can have both.
Yeah.
You can have a career and do well and prioritize that, but also like, I'll still be the first one at the soccer game on Monday. So
exactly. And I absolutely love that, because one of the things I see with my nieces, even, as I realize they're never going to see a world in which they don't have powerful women in their lives. Yes. And I just am so grateful for that, because I don't know about you, that's not something I really super had as a kid. So to see that this next generation sees women in leadership roles and sees all of that, I think it really allows young girls to look and be like, I can do that.